Oh, yeah, he finally got there. Hi, I'm back. I have to give this a read. This is just marvelous, and this is for my brother, who's an evangelical and doesn't understand what everybody's so upset about with evangelicals. And maybe this will help him. This is by John Pavlovitz, um, who's an author of Hope and Other Superpowers, a life-affirming, love-defending, butt-kicking, world-saying manifesto. Author of A Bigger Table. He's been like very supportive of, this is like, well, he's one of the people that like make me shake my head every time I see shit coming from the UK. It's like, don't you people have any press that's friendly to you? It's like, whoa, dog, look at this shit in the mail every day, just about, in the mail and the Sun, all these UK papers, even the Guardian and Intercept will have like, what the fuck? Why are you why do you treat trans people this way in the press? We got much better press. And this one's really wonderful. Dear evangelicals, I'm not sure how you ended up here. I don't know how you ended up deciding that anybody else's body, their gender identity, or their sexual orientation were any of your business. I don't know who told you that you had any right to tell another human being who they could be attracted to or find contentment with, or what pronouns they should use for themselves, or how they should dress, or who they could marry, or what restroom they had to use, or if they deserved to adopt children or not. It certainly wasn't Jesus. I know you like to pass the buck to Jesus and LGBTQ people, but I also know that he never asked you to do any of it. You weren't given the authority to judge their moral worth. You weren't given permission to trespass into their bedrooms, and you weren't authorized to police their physicality. On matters of sexuality, Jesus was largely silent. And so, how you found yourself being so loud about it is probably something you should pray on. That may be a you problem. What I do know about Jesus, yeah, that's a you problem. We've noticed that the louder a clergyman or congressman or coach yells about LGBT stuff, the more likely they are to get busted, like doing something queer or messing with children or grown up women. It's like they're projecting denial of their own sexual confusion, the confusion about their own sexuality. What I do know about Jesus is that he told you to love people as yourself, with that kind of regard and respect and gentleness. I know he told you not to cast stones or insults or condemnation at anyone unless you're fully sinless yourself. I know he told you that as you treat the marginalized and the forgotten and those already suffering as you treat him. I also know that he never once criticized or condemned anyone for their identity or orientation, and he never said you should or could. In fact, his most popular sermon, Jesus was quoted as saying, "Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother or sister's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How can you say to your brother and sister, let me take the speck out of your eye, when all the time there's a plank in your own eye? You hypocrite, first take the plank out of your own eye, and then you'll see clearly to remove the speck from your brother or sister's eye." This dear evangelical friend, what Jesus is saying to his followers, including you, is that you could spend every waking moment you have left here in this life, expend every ounce of energy, use up every last breath of your life, just working on the putrid mess of your own house and still be way behind. That means that if you have sermons to preach or fingers to point or damnation to dispense or sin to call out, you should do it in the mirror or shut your mouth. Because even if the Bible said that being gay or lesbian or bisexual or transgender was a sin, which it flatly doesn't, that would still be between an LGBTQ person and God, not you. You don't get to meddle with people's bedrooms and bathrooms and body parts. That's way above your pay grade and outside your jurisdiction, and there's simply no biblical way around it. Your job should be being a Christian really matter. Your job should being a Christian really matter is to love people as you desire to be loved. It is to be peacemaker and caregiver and wound bender. And please, evangelical friend, don't give me that hackneyed, tired nonsense that you are loving LGBT people by doing the things you do to them, because that's an insult to all of us. If you're going to tell me with a straight face that ridiculing them in the streets and excluding them from your churches and passing legislation to take away from their civil rights and prohibiting them from being fully authentic as loving them, I'm respectively calling bullshit. The day you convinced yourself that this was love, you lost the plot completely. No, Jesus commanded you to love people as you desire to be loved. As you desire to be loved. I wonder how you desire to be loved. I imagine you desire to be loved by being seen as a complex human being with dignity and worth. I imagine you desire to be loved by being allowed to be the most qualified person to tell your story and share what it's like to be inside your skin. I imagine your desire to be loved by having your journey respected as yours alone. I imagine you desire to be loved by being able to choose the person you spend your life loving and how you show affection and find companionship. I imagine you desire to be loved by being allowed to live. In light of this, evangelical friends, you need to leave the LGBTQ community the hell alone. They're trying to live, work, raise families, worship, and love in peace. And you have decided that you get to prevent them from that. They, like you, are doing their best to make their way through this painful, difficult, exhausting life, and you're making it all much more painful, difficult, and exhausting. You're a source of grief and creator of pain and a doer of damage. God honoring about it. You're wasting here on wars Jesus didn't ask you to wage. You're squandering relationships you could be nurturing, and you're irreparably injuring people made in the image of God. This is reckless, it's irresponsible, and yes, it's sinful. You need to start emulating Jesus. Start treating people as you'd like to be treated and stop being horrible in the name of God. That goes for Zionists too. I mean, like, come on. How can you say that God's telling you that's what's happening there is all right? Actually, friend, I'm setting the bar really low for you. Honestly, as a Christian and a decent human being, you should be doing far more than simply letting these people be, friend. You should be including them fully in community. You should be welcoming them into your churches without condition. You should be celebrating their marriages and their families. You should be loudly demanding that they have every right to life, liberty, and happiness that you do. You should be standing between them and the bullies instead of partnering with them, with the bullies. You should be deeply and fully and lavishly loving them. That's what they deserve. But I know that's probably much too much to ask of you right now because of the hubris you're struggling with. Given that reality, as a person who loves LGBTQ people dearly, and as a longtime caregiver who's heard them tell horror stories of your cruelty every day, and as a veteran pastor who's had a front row seat to the unnecessary pain you're causing, and the wedge you're driving between them and God, I can only plead with you, if you really believe you're called to love and not to wound people, leave the LGBTQ community alone. Nice. Thanks, John. So who's here? Are we getting any nasty remarks? Nobody's here. Oh, we got people here, but nobody's saying nothing. Hi. No, it's been one of those days. In Tucson, nobody cares. It's just like, nobody hardly ever notices. And if people read me as male and I tell them, no, I'm not, and they're like, oh, okay. I don't get any arguments. I don't get people taunting me. I mean, I had an incident, but it's real rare, and hopefully they're going to actually prosecute it, but I doubt it. So let's see what's cooking at Twitter. Yeah, see, this is what set me off this morning on this. Is Paris Lees, who's a trans author, who's like an actress or model or something, in the UK, and sure she just hit the big time. Is now a columnist for Vogue over there. And what she said today was, imagine if you took all the time you've spent obsessing about trans people this year and focused that energy on improving your life in 2019. You could learn a new language, redecorate, read, learn about art, get fit, live your life, and stop worrying about mine. Well, let's see what else people were saying before I read you mine. Yeah, less transphobia, more decoupage. Let's call them certain people from now on. That's really good. Yeah, well, there's all this, trans Taliban versus the TERFs. It gets ugly sometimes, the trans wars. They're so obsessed that if they were to redecorate, they just end up painting genitals all over their walls. I often think that this is about those people that seem to do nothing other than worry about us and post on Mumsnet's echo chamber about us. Like, is this really how you want to invest your remaining seconds on this earth? Could have written a new series of It Crowd. Underrated tweet. Absolutely spot on. If they spent more time on themselves and obsessing about something that's not harming them, then they'd be in a much better place. Well said, Paris. Could write a new hit sitcom. Hope you have a lovely Xmas. Sadly, your won't come true. Sex and gender are about us all. And when the definitions of these are being changed before our eyes, I think you should expect conversation to continue. Sorry that it comes across phobic. In most part, it really isn't. Oh, what's this? This gay male. Yeah. Most people, straight and gay, that I know, wish people would shut the fuck up about sex and gender already. It's like, okay, you are what you are, you do what you do. It's really none of my business unless you want to be doing it with me. And I don't want to hear about it. Get a fucking room. it's really. I'll get to it when I get to what I wrote. Gay guys, though, boy. So gay guys and the turfy lesbians. Holy shit! Oh man, just some of the shit that they say. And then here, most of us are just like wanting to be left alone. It's like, okay, we are what we are, and we have our lives. We want to live it, and don't want to have to be like fucking validating ourselves every time we meet somebody. Or just walking down the street to a stranger. Oh, who's this douchebag? 27 followers. I don't think I'm going to worry about it. Yet you talk about nothing but trans issues. What are your thoughts on interior design, literature, and art? Yeah, she's this is Paris's point. I often think this about people who have time to be racist, homophobic, or transphobic, and much more. It's like, think of all you could do with that time instead of being a hateful idiot. I do think you're asking too much of them. Most of your suggestions for them would be appropriate for someone with an IQ higher than that of a peanut, so they don't apply. We have to continue to fight against the radical, twisted trans lobby to protect the children who are being abused by this cult, perpetuating the myth that it's possible to change gender or species. Oh my God. Is this guy serious? I don't know. It's hard to tell. I'm going to have to ask him if I can get it back. I don't like the way Twitter messes with my desk, and then it just like really gets stupid. Oh, now it's having trouble finding Twitter at all. Yeah, I can't get Twitter at all. Something's wrong with Twitter. No, is Facebook fucked up too? Yeah. Actually, the Muslims in America are supportive of LGBT. With that incident, because I'm hoping they're going to prosecute. I think I did a while back, but I'm not really talking about it in public yet. We'll see if they're going to prosecute first. Looks like everything else is fucked up. Is there anybody still here? So it looks like Twitter and Facebook both are not able to load. Well, let's see if this uploads. That does. Huh. Well, that's weird. My browser can't get Facebook or Twitter. It says there's no internet. I think it's time to end this stream. Something's wrong. I gotta reboot my modem. Thanks for watching. Happy day. Bye.